you know, all of the, you know, God bless all of these families. But for the people who are still anonymous here, do you think it is important for us to be able to see that kind of outpouring for them? And do you have more information as an elected official about how it's going in trying to identify these Asian victims?
So unfortunately, I don't have any additional information that's not publicly made available. Of course, we are very much concerned. There have been some Korean American newspapers saying that the victims were of Korean descent. But of course, we want to be sensitive and respectful to the victims and their families. To the earlier point as well, in terms of the balance that we have to strike in terms of increased law enforcement, it takes me to the point, especially in Gwinnett, in which elections matter. Previously, we had 287G in place under a Republican sheriff, in which a lot of immigrant communities were very scared to reach out to law enforcement. That's changed. We now have a Democratic sheriff who immediately repealed 287G, in part with the support of Asian American voters who brought the political change necessary to ensure that these communities can come out of hiding and be treated with equal dignity.
Well, and that's a really important point, Michelle, because, you know, it's frustrating for us, for me as a journalist, to not be able to tell people who these victims are and to be able to give them that dignity on television because we just don't know. But we know that we're also in a medium where there aren't a lot of in-language speakers. There aren't necessarily people who can communicate in the language that people might speak or be conversant enough with the community to know how to make the approach. Just talk to us about what can we do differently? Give us a little bit of advice here, just from a journalistic point of view. What should we be doing better?
Yeah, and you kind of alluded to it earlier in terms of having the right representation of people who are working in these systems, who are reporting in the newsrooms, who can speak the language, who can understand the community. And I think the broader point about trust is also important for us to understand in terms of how people view the relationship that they have and how authentic and honest they can be in sharing their stories. That there is actual ongoing interest in understanding the stories of Asian Americans and Asian people in this community, because I'm actually getting a lot more information from Korean news outlets in Atlanta. And they are speaking to the victims' families and witnesses in Korean language. And they're sharing information that's not being shared on mass media. So I do think that there needs to be a much longer term commitment to building that relationship and trust to understand the needs of the community more deeply.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.